Okay, so I'm very claustrophobic. Like, I am not joking when I say this. I cannot be put in small places for a very long time. But this one time I got put into a small space, well, let's just say it was with my crush. And it was super embarrassing until it got pretty good. But before we get into the story, make sure you guys press that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And let's just jump straight into this embarrassing story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to a really embarrassing story. Now, this story all takes place, funny enough, back in my grade 9 year. Now in grade 9, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't a player, I was a basic guy, and to be honest, I literally just lost my V card the year before. And I remember I had a crush because I was a hopeless romantic back when I was in grade 9. And I remember back when I was in grade 9, I had a crush on this girl that was in my social studies class, and this girl was amazing. I remember every time I entered that class that year, I kept looking at her and thinking, wow, someday that's gonna be my future wife. Even though now I'm just a YouTuber that tells really embarrassing stories about me doing the devil's tango. Still, this girl I was madly in love with. And I remember one time I entered in my social studies classroom in my grade 9 year, and I remember I ended up sitting down in that class. Out of nowhere, the teacher comes up in front of the classroom and says, okay class, so this year we got approved to go to a museum to teach you guys history to the finest potential. So I'm gonna be making sure all of you guys get your permission form signed that I'm gonna be handing out right now, and make sure you guys all get ready to go to this awesome museum. Now for me, I'm not really much of a museum guy, I'm not gonna lie. I like statues, I've seen the movie Night of the Museum, but me personally, I really could care less about a museum. But knowing that my crush was really excited because she loved history, I kind of pretended to be excited as well, just so, you know, me and her could find something in common for once so I could go talk to her. And I remember that day as well, I went home and I even begged my parents to sign the permission form and pay the $50 that we had to pay for going into the museum. $50 per student. Can you imagine? Like, I swear, school systems really try to take your money out of you. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember the next week came around, and basically all of us were going to the museum literally on the Monday of the new week. And I remember on Monday, I was so excited to go to the museum. And when I got into my classroom, I saw that my teacher was basically working on a worksheet of, you know, pairing people up in groups. Now me, I really wanted to talk to this girl, and I wanted to find the perfect opportunity to talk to her and basically rizz her up. So I remember I walked up to my teacher and said, hey, I'm not gonna lie, is it cool if you pair me up with this girl? Like, she's really smart, and honestly, I feel like I can learn a lot off her. And when I told that to my teacher found it cute how I said that, but at the same time, she wanted me to have a good trip, so she said that she would. And well, let's just say 20 minutes later when class started, she ended up putting the names on the board of people that we're grouping up with to go on the bus and to go through the museum with. And when this girl saw that I was her partner, at first she was pretty weirded out because obviously she wanted her friends to be her partner, but then she looked at me and, you know, kind of smiled, so I guess, you know, she wanted to go with me. I don't know, I think I'm just kind of coping here and hoping that she did want to go with me, but you know, it is what it is. If she didn't, then that sucks for her, because, well, what ended up happening next really did suck. I remember when we got on the bus, we ended up heading towards the museum, and I remember this girl was like telling me all about like the exciting history moments that she's gonna go look at, and you know, all the cool wax statues that they had there. And me, I kind of just kept looking at her as her mouth was moving, but I'm gonna be fair with you, I had no idea what she was talking about. Like, she started bringing up people named like Napoleon, Wayne Gretzky. I really don't know what she was on about, to be honest with you. All I knew was that this girl loved history, so I had to pretend to love history. And me pretending to love history is me nodding my head over and over as if I knew what she was talking about. Now, when we got to the museum, I remember all of us, we ended up going to like, you know, a sit down area of the museum where we had to sit down beside each other and basically, you know, talk about what parts of the museum we want to go to and stuff. And this girl decided to basically plan our whole trip for us. And it got to the point where there was an upstairs area where it would show the history of dinosaurs. Now me, I'm not gonna lie to you, even though I'm a guy, I don't like dinosaurs. I believe dinosaurs should stay extinct. But I remember she really wanted to go to this dinosaur exhibit, and I said sure, why not? And basically me and her, the first thing we went to was towards the dinosaurs. Now the dinosaurs, like I said earlier, was upstairs. So basically me and her, we got into this elevator that was newly built. We went upstairs and the elevator worked fine, and we walked around the exhibit, looked around and stuff, and then afterwards we had to go back down because we had to switch to the next exhibit that she wanted to go to. And as we went back to the elevator, and once I pushed the button, I accidentally pushed the wrong button, and this girl ends up going really crazy on me saying, wait, what are you doing? That's not the right place. And she ended up pushing me towards another button that stopped the whole elevator and shut it down. I remember I looked at her and I'm thinking, wait, what just happened to the elevator? And she looks at me saying, I don't know, you broke it or something. something. How did I break an elevator? I remember me and her, we looked at each other and we were freaking out. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what happened. And me and her, we ended up sitting down just waiting. I remember at the time I decided to pull out my iPhone 5C. Yeah, the phone that was like, you know, super colorful that Apple made. That was a total failure. And I tried to call my mom or anybody to help us, but obviously my phone for some reason did not work at this part of the museum because apparently the walls were like made of a certain concrete that could not get any cell reception. So I remember I looked at this girl and said, yo, how long do you think we're gonna be trapped here? Well, knowing that we're the only ones that want to go to the dinosaur exhibit because everyone else is weird, we might be here for a minute. So like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Oh no, like I'm thinking a bit longer. I remember at that point, I kept looking around the room and I felt like the space was getting smaller and smaller. And I felt like I was trapped in a box. I mean, to be fair, I was trapped in a box, but I remember I was panicking to the point where I did not know if I was going to survive. This girl that was my crush ended up looking at me saying, hey, like, you all right? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just not good with really small spaces. Oh, well, everything's gonna be okay. She ended up coming up to me and like holding me to basically make sure I was okay. And when I looked at her, I remember she ended up taking off my glasses out of nowhere and she decided to straight up make out with me. She started making out with me and stuff, and I thought this was like amazing because like we're making out in an elevator, like that's romantic. And then my helpless romantic side came out, and basically me and her, we ended up basically getting to the point where we did the devil's tango in the museum elevator. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of crazy and it sounds really bizarre, but at the same time we were stuck in there for a good while. I remember as me and her were doing the devil's tango for like 20 minutes, out of nowhere I remember the elevator all of a sudden turned on and all our clothes were on the ground, and me and her, we did not get dressed fast enough because I guess we weren't that fast at putting on our clothes. And basically I remember when the elevator landed on the downstairs floor and the elevator door opens, we see a janitor, a security guard, and my teacher with the entire class behind her seeing me and this girl getting dressed. It was super embarrassing, and I remember I'm just holding my eggplant thinking, okay, yeah, this is not good. And this girl instantly just grabs her clothes, puts it on, and starts running for the museum doors just to get out of there. I think since that day she's been scarred to go to museums, but me honestly, I'm planning my next trip to the museum with a girl soon. Anyways guys, that is basically it for today's embarrassing story. Make sure you guys press that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out guys.